When it comes to writing a short story, there's plenty of tips and tricks that can help you make yours the best it can be. First things first, you should brainstorm ideas for your story. That's the best thing you can do. Bring a notebook wherever you go so whenever you think of an idea for a story or any characters or any conflicts or anything, write it down in there so when you go to your computer or notebook to write, you have all of your ideas and you can pick one and start writing it. The plot triangle is, well, a triangle, and it starts with the exposition leading up to the climax. In between the exposition and the climax is the rising action. After the climax, you have the falling action and then the resolution. The resolution can be fairly short or you can have none at all. Either way, it makes for a good story. Then you have the vocabulary that you should use in your story, starting with conflict. Conflict is the problem in a story. It can be person versus nature, person versus self, or person versus society. The next one is irony. The irony is when the opposite of what you expect to happen happens. It can be used in a story to help it advance, or you can not use it at all. It's perfectly fine. Whatever makes your story yours. The setting is when and where a story takes place. You have to have this in a story, or else your reader constantly wonders what is happening and where it's happening. Imagery is descriptive language that appeals to the five senses. It paints a picture in the reader's mind, kind of like a mini movie. Of course, you've experienced this while you're reading a story. You can't have a story without characters, or a character for that matter. Character is obviously a person in the story. It can include dynamic characters and flat characters. Dynamic characters are what they sound like, the characters who change and grow throughout the story and make the story what it is. Flat characters are characters who don't really matter, they're kind of minor and they don't change throughout the story. Symbolism is the use of an object to represent our thought or idea. A heart, for example, is used to symbolize or symbolizes love. A good story has symbolism. Without it, it just seems kind of bland and boring and everything is described the way it is. When you start writing a story, you have to pick what point of view you're going to use. Point of view can either be first person, third person limited, third person omniscient, or second person. Let's not discuss second person because that isn't normally used. First person is when I serves as the narrator of a story, when the story goes along saying, I threw the ball and Jake caught it, or something. Third person limited is the character knows only the thoughts and feelings of a single character, while other characters are presented only externally, like Jamie sat at home, alone, thinking. Third person omniscient is the character knows the thoughts and feelings of all the characters, such as Bob was awkward in that situation while Jamie was thinking about dinner that night. Let's talk about three other terms that might be used in a story, such as foreshadowing, which are hints and clues that tell the reader, well, sort of tell the reader, like it pokes you and is like, hey, this is going to happen. Tips the reader of what will come later in the story. Mood is the emotion or feeling a reader experiences as he or she reads a story, like sorrow, or anger, or happiness. And theme is the fundamental and often universal idea explored in a text. There is often more than one single theme in any text. I hope these tips and tricks help you writing your story, and I hope to read your story because I bet it is great. Good luck!